here at Moraine Valley, and I just wanted to thank you for joining me and the Celebrating Diversity Committee for our Disability Awareness event. Our speaker today is Brian P. Swift, a personal development coach, speaker, best-selling author, and radio personality. He's a graduate of Moraine Valley and of DePaul University School of Law. At the age of 17, he became quadriplegic as a result of a tragic football accident. Now he lives life fully from a wheelchair and walks differently through confidence, grit, compassion, and humor. He's worked corporately, doing sales and leadership training, and now he runs a nonprofit organization called SOAR, which helps people with disabilities access the proper equipment so they can enjoy outdoor activities. Brian is also the host of the All Things Inspirational show on WJOL 1340 radio in Chicago. He inspires people of all abilities to live life fully. Please help me in welcoming Brian.
Am I on now? Yeah. All right, perfect. Well, I'd like to thank Madison and the library and Moraine Valley for having me. Many moons ago, I spent 2 years here getting my associate's degree, and it was a great experience. I loved it. It was a big part of my life, so I'm glad to see the college thrive. I'm here to talk about not just having a disability, but how to thrive. And the way you thrive really doesn't change whether you have a disability or not. So a lot of things I talk about are going to carry over to anybody here that is just trying to get by, maybe self-doubt, maybe self-sabotage, things that are getting in your way. In order to kind of give you some reference, I want to just share my story with you, and you did hear part of it. So it was the day after Christmas in 1979. I know some of you weren't born probably yet. I'm looking at the audience. I was at a park with a bunch of my friends playing football, which I had done my whole life. I was running with the ball and I just got tackled. Nothing strange. I didn't fall on my head, didn't fall on my neck. The doctors are still puzzled how I ended up breaking my C6 vertebrae and becoming a quadriplegic, paralyzed from the neck down. So at that point, life changes, as you can imagine. Especially at the age of 17, you kind of think you've got the world in front of you, and now you realize you really don't have the world in front of you. That being said, in 79, technology was far away from where we are now. I mean, there was no cell phones, there were no iPads, video gaming like you have now. I mean, technology was long ahead of us at that time. That being said, the outlook, the statistic for your life as a quadriplegic read much like a Stephen King novel. It was not pretty. And they were very honest about what your life was going to be like. So I was up at what is now the Shirley Ryan Ability Lab, back then was called RIC, the Rehabilitation Institute of Chicago. One of the premier rehabilitation institutes in the country. That being said, back then, when you look at statistics, what your life was going to end up like, less than 15% of quads went on to school, less than 10% of quads got married, less than 15% held a full-time job. The statistics for your life were pretty bad. They just didn't have a great outlook. That being said, I was blessed with a mom that had strong faith and a dad that gave very tough love. So what drove me from being that statistic to thriving? It's not one answer, it's a lot of answers. But the one thing that pulled me out of it was the tough love given by my dad. And the story I tend to share is one that happened in January. So I was at the rehabilitation center. All right, there we go, we're back up. So I don't remember what the conversation was about. I do remember it was a week before my birthday, and turning 18 and sitting in a hospital, hooked up to cords, not being able to feed yourself, was not what I had planned for my 18th birthday. I had way bigger plans than that being there. So all of a sudden my dad got up from where he was sitting and walked over and he got his overcoat. Didn't say anything. He came back to the table and stood next to the table and looked down at me and said, if I come up here again and you're not smiling, if you're not in good spirits, I'm going to turn around and leave. He goes, I'm not coming up here if you're not in good spirits. He said, it's your responsibility to keep the family up. It's your responsibility to have a smile. It is your responsibility to make sure that the family goes in a good direction, because if you're smiling, we will all be smiling. Took off his coat, sat down. It's the last he said. I mean, we talked, but that was it of that topic. I didn't think anything of it. I know it may sound harsh, but that was kind of, my father was all about tough love. That night, while I'm laying in bed and I'm listening to this fly buzz around, hoping it doesn't get any closer because I couldn't swat it away, all of a sudden it hit me really what he asked me to do. And I'm thinking, holy shit. Did he just tell me? Did I hear what I heard, right? I mean, it's my response. What else do you need me to do? You know, here I am laying, I've got a halo on screwed into my head, I can't move. And it was my responsibility. But then it kind of struck me that, as my mom would say, sometimes we don't know why things happen in our lives, right? I, at a young age, realized sometimes things don't happen to us, they happen for us. And my accident was much bigger than affecting me. It was affecting my family, it affected my friends, it affected people I didn't even know it was going to affect. But what happened to me was going to have a bigger effect. And I was not going to let my family suffer through dealing with somebody with a disability that wasn't who I was before the disability, which was always smiling, always joking, slightly sarcastic, and always outgoing. So I really, at that point, had to take note that I was responsible for moving forward. I was blessed to have awesome family, awesome friends, and to this day, all my achievements, all my major achievements in life have come after I broke my neck, have come despite the statistics of what I was supposed to be. I mean, there was no blaming in my family. There was no getting down for any amount of time. You just stayed up. It's just the way it was, and they helped with that. I've always been blessed. My mom was this faith end, and my dad was this gritty, just keep moving forward. Oh, something happened, now what? Well, now what are you going to do? That was his thing. Okay, good, now what? You know, you're having a tough time in school. Good, now what are you going to do? Well, now what happens next? So that was my dad. I knew he loved me. He just went at things differently. I know most people probably think that's crazy, but he's my hero, an amazing man. My mom's thing was, we don't know why things happen. Don't try to figure it out. Just keep moving forward. Because even if you figure it out, you figure out the why. Does it really matter? Does it change anything? We spend so much time, you know, just possessed over things we can't control, we can't change. So, that being said, that's kind of what drew me to be the person I am, not just by myself. If it wasn't for my faith and family, I have a mantra, I wrote faith, family, and friends. If you can put those three things together, trust me, and everybody here, you've got so much greatness in you and so many things you can accomplish. You just don't realize it. Maybe you don't believe it. Maybe you haven't seen it. Who here has goals? Who here has written goals? Okay, if they're not written, write them down, because the chances of you achieving them double if they're written down. Who here has told somebody about your goals? Have you shared them? Share them with somebody. Why? Kind of acts as an accountability partner. So I truly recommend sharing them and even writing when you want to get them accomplished. So how do we thrive? right? I'm going to go backwards. What stops us from thriving? And I'm not going to sit here and talk the whole time. We're going to get some participation. So what stops us from thriving? Anybody, throw something out that you... Self-doubt. Absolutely. We all have it. Yes? Overthinking, absolutely. You know, they say that we all have these negative thoughts, and they say that 93% of negative thoughts never occur, and only 3% occur as badly as we make it out to be in our minds. That overthinking also comes from sometimes not having a good game plan, not as I call goals. That's my game plan. Because when you have a game plan, that allows you to stay on track to where you want to go and not get off on these tangents. What else? What else is in your way, or you think is in your way from achieving the things you want to achieve? Whatever that is, writing a book, running a marathon, opening a business, whatever that thing is, it doesn't matter. Starting your own business, working for a big company, what do you think might be in your way?
Lack of motivation.
Definitely.
Waiting for the right moment.
Absolutely. And I've got some news for you. There is no right moment. The speed of progress is always never fast enough. We never get where we want to go fast enough. That will never change. There is no right time, just like there are no, I know a lot of people who want all the answers. I want to know every step to get from here to here. There is no one resource, no one book, no one computer that gives you all the answers. It is about having faith, it is about having confidence in yourself, and it's about getting comfortable being uncomfortable. Get comfortable being uncomfortable. That will help you deal with any fear that you have, which fear is another thing that stops us. What else? What else stops us? Yes? Yes, perfection, you will chase perfection your whole life. Life's about progress, not perfection. If you're making progress, you're moving in the right direction. How about, go ahead.
I was going to say comparing yourself to others.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what? You are all unique. You are not anybody else. You do not want to be Mike. You do not, I mean, don't get me wrong, I wish I was Mike. I mean, Mike's not a bad guy to be. But you don't want, we do that. We're all guilty of that. And then we look at ourselves and we make that comparison, but you don't know who those people are down deep. You are all unique. You're all capable of great things. You just have to convince yourselves of that. What other things in the disability world might prevent us from thriving? Yes. Lack of accommodations, accessibility. I've dealt with that a little bit here and there. The world has gotten better. Things have gotten much better since the ADA. Are they ever going to be perfect? Probably not. But they have gotten better. I think we're going in a good direction. Anybody else?
Not feeling well.
Yeah, that's a tough balancing act. How hard you push yourself when you're not feeling well? My dad had an answer. It was, suck it up, buttercup. That was my dad's answer when you didn't feel well. Suck it up, buttercup. So, but you do have to take care of your health, because I'm telling you, health is wealth. Your health is your wealth. And without it, it makes the road much steeper. It just does. And you find out when somebody says, I have problems, and they start going off on all these tangents of what problems they have. You don't know what problems are till you get sick. When we all get sick, all of a sudden we have one problem, right? I'm sick, where's mommy? Right? I mean, especially us guys. Come on, we turn into big babies when we get sick. I admit it, we do, for whatever reason. We want to be taken care of when we get sick. But you only have one problem when you get sick. All of a sudden, all those other little problems go away. What else that we talked about might keep us from thriving? Go ahead. Yeah. Support's a big thing. Sports is a huge thing. And creating that circle of support is absolutely 100% necessary, whether you have a disability or not. They say you are the sum of the 5 people that you surround yourself with. So surround yourself with good people, because that's who will help lift you. Like they say, you don't never want to be the smartest person in the room. I never had a problem with that. I always set that bar low, but you don't want to be the smartest person in the room, because you have nothing to learn and gain then. But support is tremendously helpful, and everybody needs it. Nobody got to where they're going without the support of, it might be family, it might be friends, it might be a support group, it might be their faith. I guarantee it's probably a combination of many things, but support is necessary. And it takes a lot of work to create that support group and keep it together. And not just them being there for you, but you serve a purpose in that group. And that's for you to be there for the other people that need support. And we all have the ability to be supportive in some way, shape, or form. Anybody else? Any other things that might stop you from thriving? Go ahead. Being honest, yes. People who succeed at the greatest levels are extremely honest with themselves. We lie to ourselves more than anybody. You know why? Who do we talk to more than anybody else in the world?
Ourselves.
Absolutely. We talk to ourselves all the time, right? Which means we lie to ourselves all the time. We do. We talk to ourselves in what we want to perceive, what we want people to perceive instead of who we really are. And I'm telling you, take time, stare in the mirror, and look at that person staring back at you. And if you can learn to control that person and be 100% honest, you'll accomplish anything. And I truly mean it, that you will accomplish anything, but you've got to be 100% honest with yourself. You got to call it the way you see it, and that's okay. But being honest with yourself is definitely critical to moving further and creating that success that you want to create. Anything else? I think we pretty much hit all the things I could think of from not just the standpoint of somebody with a disability, but from the standpoint of things that will get in our way. You've hit them all. That being said, that's great. Now what do we do with it? What do we do about those things that will get in our way? Life's about mindset. Mindset. I do more talks, more coaching on mindset. If you can learn to control your mind, you can overcome and accomplish anything. Do you know how many thoughts the average person has a day?
60,000.
That's what they say, about 60,000 thoughts. And you know what percentage of them are negative? 80%, very close. 80% are negative. So think about this. Think about, and this is also at the subconscious level. If you had that many negative thoughts, it's amazing more people aren't throwing themselves off of the bridge or in front of, I mean, think about it, 60,000 thoughts, and that many are negative. And we repeat the negative ones 90% of the time. Now a lot of that is at the subconscious level. It's a horrible statistic. It's no wonder we can accomplish anything if you think about it. And I have read that stat in numerous articles. That being said, how do we control then? How do we stay on top of things? How do we stay upbeat? How do we stay driven? I talked about some of them. One is goals. Goals are phenomenal. 2, create that support system, those 5 people. More, if better, that you surround yourself with that are support in some way. People that have already gotten to where you want to go. I mean, find the best of the best, and don't be afraid to ask for help. You have to find those people. The things we say to ourselves are so critical. Our self-talk. I have worked with more people that say things that are so negative to themselves. It's amazing. They think it, they say it subconsciously. It starts to drill in. Something as simple, and I had in a manager's conference, I had the head of the company. It was a tough year, and everybody was saying, that sucks, that sucks, that sucks. And he said, I know it's been a tough year. Everybody's struggling. He said, I'm hearing a lot of this talk. He goes, replace that with, that's interesting. And it is something that stuck with me. So when a situation comes now that maybe sucks, I say that's interesting. And just think of the difference in your mindset. If you say something sucks, what do you think? Just think about what do you think? It's horrible. It's something I don't want to have to deal with. It drives the energy out of you, right? How do you feel when you say it to yourself? What do you feel?
Set.
Yes. Negative thoughts. Now say, that's interesting. You feel totally different. It's the same situation. You still have to deal with it, but it's those little words, when you change them, all of a sudden starts to change you. That's interesting. I started saying it. I started correcting people that work for me from saying, I don't say that around me. I don't want to hear it. Say that's interesting. And I've used it in my family. I've used it in coaching. I've used it everywhere. These little words that we say to ourselves. So take account of the words we say to ourselves. The words we say about others even. You know, instead of maybe saying something negative about somebody, they're interesting. They're just interesting. There's a lot of other words we use. I know we do, but maybe switch it out. They're an interesting person. And trust me, it's these little things. Mindset is amazing, and I work on mindset. Neuro-linguistics programming means that our minds are malleable, and it means that we can reprogram them. We can get rid of a lot of the self-doubt. We can get rid of a lot of the self-sabotage. We can get rid of a lot of the negativity and turn that into things like confidence. Confidence is an amazing thing, but confidence is not just a word, it is an action. Confidence comes with achievement, comes with doing things and failing at things. Now, we've all heard the term, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, right? So, let me ask you, are you and I'm going to challenge you to think differently. Are you the glass is half empty or the glass is half full? How many say the glass is half empty? How many say the glass is half full? You know what I say? It's refillable. It's not half empty or it's not half full. I can refill it anytime I want. So I challenge you to start looking at things maybe differently. And the reason I say this is I'm a certified John Maxwell coach and speaker, and one of the masterminds I teach is called Sometimes You Win, Sometimes You Learn. Why? And I think that's a great philosophy. I haven't lost in like 12 years. I've not failed at anything in 12 years. If my arm didn't hurt, I'd pat myself on the back. Well, going 12 years without failing, that's a pretty good run. Reason being is, if you fail or lose at something, if you look at it as an opportunity to learn, and you learn from it, it has now become a lesson. And it is now not a stumbling block, it is a stepping stone to your success. So stop looking at things as sometimes I win, sometimes I lose. You don't lose if you learn from it. And trust me, as an athletic coach, I guarantee anybody who's played sports, you learn more from losing than you do winning. Because when you win, you're patting each other on the back and everybody's happy and we talk about how great we were, right? But when you lose, coaches are doing a little deeper self-dive into that videotape and things, right? And you learn more from losing than you do winning. And you can fail your way to success. Fail your way to success. If you're not failing, you're not trying hard enough. Learn from those mistakes. Learn from those failures. Trust me, they are nothing but building blocks to success. That is all just part of our mindset. And everybody here is capable of that. But you have to be present in the moment, and you've got to be conscious of what you're doing and take that initiative to do that. It all starts with mindset. So, community, support and community. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for the support. My parents, my sisters, friends who picked me up every day, brought me up to my high school, helped me work out on and off the bench, threw me in a pool to see, well, that was my dad, well, can he swim? Let's find out if he can swim. Into the water. Well, we know he can float, but I'm not sure he can swim yet. So yes, actually I ended up swimming competitively for Marion Joy Rehab, but yeah, his way of finding things out was a little old school. I'm not saying I don't recommend it, but it's different. He gets things accomplished. So that being said, building a community is extremely important, and it takes a conscious effort to do it. You have to be very intentional, like controlling your mindset. You've got to be extremely intentional about changing the words you use about yourself, changing the words you use about others. Pick a word you like instead of that other word that we all use, or words we all use, and we're all guilty. But be intentional about it. Create that community around yourself. You can't get to where you're going. I'll keep saying, all my accomplishments came after I broke my neck. Everything I've have been blessed to do has come with support, driven by my faith and my family and my friends. Going to college was just not something people did. I'm first generation college. First of all, college was not in my plans at 17. I probably was going to go into the union, get a great job there, make a great living, and that wasn't going to happen after I got hurt. So it was, well, now you got to go to college. And I was one of those, I hate to say it, C's get degrees type of mentalities. And I had to change that. So I came here for 2 years and met some great teachers. Mary Rita Frudenthal, I don't know, I know she's not here, but she taught a lot of the psychology courses. I had just some great professors and whatnot when I came here. And from here, I went to St. Xavier University and graduated from there 2 years later. And while I was there trying to figure out what I was going to do, I had a little old nun come up to me that was probably about 105 and about this big and still wore the old habit and said, "What are you doing after you graduate?" I said, "Sister Dennis, I don't know." She goes, "You're going to go to law school." I laughed. I said, I don't see myself in law school. I'm not that smart. She goes, "You're going to take the test." I go, "I'll think about it." She said, "Here's the study guide." I said, "I will start studying, Sister Dennis." She goes, "Good, the test is in 3 months. Get ready for it, and in 2 weeks come back and we'll do a little pre-test." Yes, Sister Dennis. I ended up taking the test and getting into law school, which still blows my mind. When I talked to friends from high school and they asked what you were doing, I said, "I'm in law school." They laughed. I said, "I know, I laughed too. I don't blame you. I know Swifty isn't the guy you saw in law school back in high school, but here I am because I had people that believed in me and I started to believe in myself." And I wasn't an A student when I went here. I wasn't even close, but I became an A student at St. Xavier because I was driven differently, and in the back of my mind, once I had accomplished junior college and other things, I started coaching athletics at the grammar school I went to. I learned how to drive within about 3 years of my injury. I started to get back out, and I've spent a lot of time in just the world enjoying running with my friends. I started playing athletics. I started playing wheelchair rugby. I started swimming. I did a little bit of track and field. I was busier than a one-legged man in a butt-kicking contest. I just stayed busy. That's what worked for me. Besides therapy and working out every day. Who here has values they live by? Awesome. Who here has non-negotiables? Awesome. If you do not have non-negotiables, I would tell you to create them. There have got to be some things in your life that you will not negotiate with for any reason. For me, some of those things are, as I said, health is wealth. You need at least, for me, I will get 7 hours of sleep a night somehow, somewhere. I will exercise at least an hour to 2 a day, hour minimally. I will find time. Might be 20 minutes in the morning, little time in the afternoon, 20 minutes at night, but I will find a way to do that. I will spend an hour reading a day and practicing my faith. Have these non-negotiables. And once you set your values, it's easy to set what you're non-negotiable about. And that really helps you achieve your goals and move you forward. So those are some things. Any questions? I don't want you to have to wait to the end, maybe forget if you have a question. I should have said that earlier, a half hour ago. But does anybody have any questions? Please throw your arm up and ask. If you have, yes.
What if we don't know what our non-negotiables are yet?
Do you know what your values are? If you have values, you can figure out your non-negotiables.
Okay.
Things that have lots of meaning. So once you figure out your values, the non-negotiables will follow.
Okay.
Anything else? Anybody else? Questions? Yes.
I keep thinking, if I was 17 and something like that happened to me, I'd be in a sad spiral for a long time. I mean, did you not have that? Because you had your support system was like, come on, picked it up. Like, I'm amazed that you'd be able to be like, okay, because I would not be so.
As God is my witness, I have never asked him to help me walk, probably because of my mom, and I never went into any type of major depression or went down the dark rabbit hole. It just, after, and I lived at home till I was 27 and got married, and I've been married 35 years. So, we've figured that out. You can still get a long marriage. She didn't marry me just for the parking spots either. I think she really digs me for some reason. So it's not just about the parking. But it's not easy. You have to work at it. And my family made it easier. I'll share another dad story. This one could be, it's not raunchy. But anyway, so I'll get to it. Just to give you one more look at my home life with my dad, who was amazing, and I love the man. I was in the kitchen. It was a hot summer day. I think it was that first year. And we quadriplegics don't deal well with heat because we don't sweat. Why we don't sweat is part of the injury. But you get really hot. And I remember being by the refrigerator and talking to my mom about something. And I was probably being a little sarcastic, and my dad walked in the front door. And I don't know what part he heard, but he must have thought I was complaining. Because I know he didn't hear the total exchange between me and my mom. So he walked by, and he stopped at the counter and put his suitcase down, and he looked at me and said, if you're looking for sympathy, you could find it in the dictionary between shit and syphilis. Picked up his suitcase, walked out to the other room, and sat down and turned on the TV. That was my pops. There was no time for getting done. And I'm telling you, I stayed busy. A busy mind is a good thing. And I thank my dad for his tough love and my mom for driving such an immense faith into me that's kept me going. Have I gotten down? Heck yeah. Yes, I've gotten down. I've gotten pissed. I've gotten aggravated. I've gotten frustrated. Sure I do. One of my non-negotiables is I will not stay there overnight. Won't happen. Can't happen. You can get down for a couple hours. You can get down for a day, but don't let one day turn into 2 days. Don't let 2 days turn into a week. Don't let a week turn into a month. Don't let a month turn into a quarter of a year or half a year. You have to figure out how to stop yourself. You have to have those controls in place. Some of my controls, exercise. If I get really mad, I'm about to go out to the garage. I've got a heavy bag, I've got a speed bag, I've got weights. I will exercise. I get frustrated. You're going to hear my music from 3 houses away, and I'm going to be hitting a heavy bag. And if I get really frustrated, I do this thing called self-induced discomfort. What is that? So on any given day, I could probably ride 5 miles in my wheelchair. So I'll go out for a ride. I'll go hit a track, or I'll go to a beautiful path in the woods. So I know I could go 2.5 miles out, and I got to turn around and go home. But probably 3 or 4 times a year, I do this silly thing and ride 5, 6 miles one way. Now I know that I've got to turn around and come home, and I'm not calling anybody to push me, because I won't call anybody to push me. So I've got to turn around and go 5, 6 miles home, and I know I'm going to be in pain, and it's going to hurt when I get home. But man, when I get home, you feel like $1,000,000. I mean, you just feel fantastic. No different than, pushing yourself in the weight room, running on the track, working real hard. But I know I'm going to be in discomfort if I go 5 miles one way, because I got to turn around. But I'm telling you, for me, that's like switching out my mindset. But find that thing that works for you, whatever that may be. Maybe it's reading a book. Maybe it's journaling. Maybe it's going in your room and journaling and gratitude. It's your thing. There's no wrong thing as long as it's productive. Don't do all the stupid things that we probably didn't got away with at some point in our lives. And now, but for the grace of God, we've not gotten in trouble, hurt ourselves, got caught. Make it something that you benefit from. Exercise, journaling, reading, turn the music on and dance. Whatever that thing is, find it. Because you need these things so you don't go into that deep, dark rabbit hole. Because it's out there waiting for all of us. And the only person that's going to stop you are probably the person staring back at you in the mirror, your support team, those things. So questions. Come on, you got to have some questions. Yes?
How do we stay consistent with changing our language and our mind? Like, how do you stay consistent? I feel like I could do that for like a week and then.
If you go a little longer than a week, you're going to change. So write it down. Does anybody here have not a dream board, a vision board? Okay, couple people? Okay, what a vision board is basically taking your goals and cutting out pictures of what you want out of life and hanging them. So I have a board, there's 2 of them, this big one's in the garage. One in the garage is probably as big as the screen. One in the house. And on it are all the things that motivate me, that drive me. This is what I want. This is the vision I want want to be able to do with my family. These are the things I want to do for my mother. These are the things I want to do, for myself. This is what I want to do with our nonprofit. And I can't go in and out of the house without seeing it at least once. And it's in my bedroom, so I see it every night. And just go back to those, write down those things, those 3 or 5 words that you want. Keep a note with you. Put it in your purse. These are the words I want to change. Ask your family for help. Hey, if you hear me say these things, help correct me. And it doesn't, I'm telling you, it doesn't take as long as you think before you're changing some of the verbiage, you're changing some of the way you think, you're changing your attitude. All of a sudden you're correcting other people, your sisters or friends, like, hey man, you shouldn't be so negative. Because what we tend to do is we beat ourselves up, right? I mean, it's human nature, we beat ourselves up. So when tough things happen, we beat ourselves up. And just look at things this way. Whatever you're thinking about, whatever you're getting down about, whatever is frustrating, if a friend came to you and said they're feeling that way, think of the advice you'd give them. And I guarantee that advice you give a friend is different than you're telling yourself. Start taking your own friend advice. So when you're talking to friends, about their issues. They come to you and you think about what you're going to tell them and you say it. We don't talk to ourselves that nicely. I don't know, we beat ourselves up. So think about if somebody came to you with what you're thinking, what would you say to them? And then say it to yourself. Because I guarantee it's way different. It's way different than we are addressing ourselves. We tend to be hard on ourselves and not forgiving. And I don't mean forgiving in a, oh, it don't matter way. I mean giving yourself grace. We have to give ourselves grace, especially when you're pushing hard and you're trying to do so much. That doesn't mean take 2 weeks off or a week off or it's okay to do silly things. It just means maybe give yourself a little grace for that night or for what happened. Take that deep breath. Then get back on it. What else? What other questions do you have? Because we have about 10 to 15 minutes left. I want to answer questions if they're out there, so yes.
So what do you mean by write down 3 or 5 things you wanted?
The words that you want to change, write them down on a piece of paper. So if you want to stop saying that sucks and want to say that's interesting, write that down. Stop saying this, that's interesting. Say that's interesting. Change that self-talk, and most of the times it's negative self-talk. How do we change what's happening outside of us individually? How do we change that perception of people with disabilities? What do we do to change that out there?
Change ourselves.
That's part of what we do. I think leading by example is the best thing we could do. I think, words are good, but actions are better. So what else? What else can we do? That we're here talking about thriving. Thriving happens 2 ways. One, individually, and one, if you think about it as a group, from a societal standpoint. What else can we do from a societal standpoint to help change? Yes? Make long-term goals, share them with people. Yeah.
Educate people.
Absolutely. It's probably one of the biggest things you can do. Have conversations. Just simple conversations with people about maybe accessibility. My friends I'm sure my friends parked in handicap spots when they were young until something happened to me, and now all of a sudden they're cognizant, like, dude, why is that vet parked there? There's no way that guy's handicapped or disabled. There's no, and now all of a sudden they were more aware of it. And the world doesn't change overnight, and you can't expect it to. But if we all take little steps, education, 100%, the way to go. Have conversations with people. Just point out things. Be more interested than interesting when you talk to people. When you're more interested in them, they tend to open up better than when you're trying to be more interesting. What else? Anybody?
Got something.
Yes.
If I'm on the other side of it, like I have a daughter who has a disability and she gets negative and down a lot, how do I be like, I'm more like your mom than your dad. I don't know how to, she wants me to say, that sucks, when she says I'm having a bad day. And she calls me a cheerleader because I'll be like, we can fix this, let's think of something, and that makes her mad. So I don't know how to be supportive. but not
I think you are being supportive in the best way you know how, but I think sometimes being too supportive starts to empower people to feel the way they do because they don't feel the need to change. So if she wants to get down, sometimes asking them, what is that accomplishing? Like, what is negative accomplishing? Do you feel better being negative? Do you think I feel better when you're negative? Is that affecting you? Ask questions. Be inquisitive when she gets that way. Like, what is your negativity accomplishing? And does she have goals? Does she have them?
I think she does.
So that's
yeah.
no. So that's a solid no. All righty. So she doesn't have goals. So have her sit down before she goes to bed tonight, before you do a thing for her. Here's a pen and here's a paper. Or you write it, you say, speak it, I'll write it, whatever it takes. I want you to come up with 5 goals for yourself. 5 goals. And then I want one idea on how you're going to accomplish it. Maybe I want one thing to be what you want to change about yourself. And an occasional suck it up, buttercup, never hurt.
I was thinking I might need to remember.
It never hurt. Trust me, it's, you know what? That's, you know, when kids want you to zig, that's a great way to zag, because she's never going to see it coming from you.
She would be shocked if I said that.
Well, sometimes you know what? Sometimes we need to get people's attention. And you know what? When I hit one of my boys with, you know, suck it up, Sally, they didn't like that. But I got their attention. And they knew. And then we continued with, this is not going to be a conversation. I'm going to talk. You're going to listen. And then when we're done, you're going to go your way. I'm going to go my way. And I get if you don't like it, what I say. I get if you don't agree with it. I just need you to listen. It will all fit in. And maybe you need to have a one-way come to Jesus conversation with her. Because her injury's not just about her. I don't care if it was something she was born with, something that happened afterwards. You know what? Our injuries what we're dealing with may not be our faults, but it is our responsibility. It's my responsibility to make the best of it, because it just doesn't affect me. You don't stay in a company 20 years succeeding if you don't take accountability and responsibility for yourself. Not as a man in a wheelchair, just as a man who has a job, who has obligations, who's made commitments. You don't stay married 35 years just because you have great parking. You know, there are deeper reasons than that. I'm not sure what they are. I mean, the parking's a pretty nice perk. But, you know, free rides when she needs them. I got a wonderful lap, I've been told. I don't know. But whatever I can do, I'm going to give her. So what else? But hit her with that.
I will. I'll try it.
She's used to mom being a certain way. Suck it up, buttercup. And then just walk away.
Yep, walk away.
Let her stew in it. Just walk away.
I'm gonna have to practice.
Walk away.
Will do. Thank you.
What else? Yes.
How has being disabled affected, like, your marriage?
It's not made it easier, obviously, right? It's made it tougher, but I think what it's done is it's bonded us to a common goal to each other. And most marriages fail if your wife is your caretaker, caregiver. Caretaker is the death one, caregiver. It makes it a little more difficult, but we just have fun with it. Like we understand what needs to be done. And I try to be as independent as I can, but you know what? I still need help in the morning getting dressed. Once I'm dressed in my wheelchair, I'm gone. I'm either in my van, I do what I do, but there is a certain amount of care that comes with it, and there is some frustration that comes with it. There's some benefits too, like not having to wait in line at Disney and going through the exits. So, you know, she gets some other perks being with me, you know. You ever wait in one of those Disney lines, that's tough. You get the guy in the wheelchair, you get to go in the exit and ride twice. So she gets some perks too. But no, none of us know our future. You marry the man you love and something happened to one of you. I guess I got the better part of that, for better or worse thing going. But she met me after I was hurt, so she kind of knew what she was getting into. To some degree, you never know till you live it. And it does put some strain on it, but there's going to be strain on relationships no matter what it's from. Whether it's always the same 3 or 4 things. It's money, family events, whose family to go to. I guarantee if you've been married, your biggest arguments are money, what side do we go to this year, and why are you always so sarcastic? I'm still working on it. I've gotten a little bit better, not as good as I should. I've learned something after 35 years, that I'm not perfect. My wife is like a museum piece. She is almost perfect, but I'm not. I'm working on it, so. Yeah, it's hard. You got to work hard at it. You've got to work no matter what. You just got to commit to making it work and not walking away, because walking away is the easy way. You find a way to make it work. Again, that's one of those non-negotiables that, we're not going to bed mad. We're going to, not go to bed angry. We're going to communicate and be honest with each other. So, again, that's a non-negotiable for us. I don't think we've gone to bed mad at each other that we knew about too often. Yes?
So you've regained the use of your arms. Can you talk about that?
So I work out every day. There's not been a day in 35 years probably that I haven't too much. So yeah, I do. I don't have use of my hands. So even though it looks like it, and I've learned to pick up the bottle and take a drink, this is all I can move my hands. And the stain on my shirt is from getting out of the van and cutting my finger and getting blood on me, which, I'm like, oh, really? But I exercise every day, and I chose to push my wheelchair. I spent 38 years pushing a manual wheelchair instead of going into an electric one or a scooter, because getting that exercise is so important to not getting a bed sore, not getting a pressure sore. And then I went to what I am in now is called manual assist. So you have to push it, but it's got a battery and it gives it a little bit of giddy up, not a ton, but enough to stop beating up I've got tendonitis and bursitis, chronic pain in my shoulders and elbows, because those limbs are not meant for weight bearing and all the stuff I do. I drive. Instead of driving in a wheelchair, which a lot of people do, I get out of the wheelchair. I transfer into a captain's chair. Why? It's way more comfortable. And at the speeds I go, I need that. I got a heavy hand. And I've gotten out of all but one tickets for speeding. If you have a disability and you can't get out of a ticket, you need to relearn. I'm telling you, use it for your. But so I exercise, and I don't have real good tricep muscles, being, if I take my arm and put it up and put it too far back, it's hard to lift it up this way. But you start to learn to do things and change the way you do things. There's a thing we all have, it's called tenodesis. If you bring your wrist back, your fingers come together naturally. So when you pull your wrist back and you just leave your fingers like that, that's what happens. So when I grab something, I'll tend to bring my wrist back to try to hold it. And you just learn to adapt to things and figure out ways, and yes, drop a lot of things. But it was a slow process. I don't think I've regained anything probably in 5 years, but I know I've gotten stronger at things. I've learned more. I've overcome and adapted more. So, somebody raise their hand. I think we have a couple minutes, or are we past the time? I'm not sure. A couple minutes. Any last questions? Yes, sir.
Was there anybody outside of your mom and father that you could say were strong support systems?
Absolutely. Grandparents. Grandparents were phenomenal. My friends, and some friends that were amazing. I had some amazing coaches that I worked with, wanting to get back and coach football. So I've had a lot of people influence me, faith being the biggest thing. And then, the things you accomplish start to build that confidence, and you start to grow. Getting those people in your life that have gotten to where you want to go, that have succeeded, and relying on them. A lot of us don't want to do it, but I'm telling you, do it. They want to help. They feel good when they help. Ask for it. It doesn't diminish you as a person. And I know guys sometimes don't want to ask for help for certain things. Ask. Ask all day. Every day I'm going to ask for something to help me grow our nonprofit. So we started a nonprofit called Swift Outdoor Accessible Recreation. I'm a believer in getting back out. I missed the things I used to do, fishing, hunting, sports. So we started a 501c3 nonprofit that helps people get back outdoors, helps them do the things they want to. Hand cycles, they want to ride the trails, therapeutic trikes, adaptive equipment, anything. We've helped people get snow skiing, water skiing, scuba diving, hunting, fishing. We get people outdoors. I believe that's where you heal. You heal outside. You have to get back to the things you love to do and find ways to do as much of it as you can. I love sports, so I went and I coached. And then I went and I played wheelchair sports for a while. I coached all the way into my high school, where I went to high school at St. Lawrence High School in Burbank. I coached freshman football and sophomore basketball. I know it may seem crazy. There's the coach. He's in a wheelchair, and he's going to teach me how to shoot a ball. This should go well. You know what? Kids are amazing the way they adapt. And because I can't physically do it, I had to learn how to communicate the proper form. And I'm telling you, when you can communicate things that you're used to showing people, they catch it quicker. It was amazing. You know, instead of, well, just hit the ball. No kidding, coach. You don't think I'm trying to, you know, if you're playing baseball, right? If you're a pitcher, just throw it over the plate. No crap. I'm trying to throw it over the plate. Well, you think I want to hit the kid standing up there? No. But when you tell somebody why they're missing it, why their footwork is wrong. I coach quarterbacks. I can't barely throw the ball from here to you, but I guarantee I can teach somebody how to be a darn good quarterback because I have to communicate it. And when you can learn to communicate at that level, way better than showing them. So, yes.
Let's say, to kind of piggyback off of his question, if you don't have the family support or a big friend circle, I know you did, but did you ever have a mentor or a coach that you looked up to and they also guided you? Because sometimes we can take something from someone
Sure.
outside of the family, what they tell
Yeah.
us, or something we're doing wrong, but it's a lot harder when you're here, or more defensive when you're hearing it from a family member.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I have. So mostly in business, I've had John Maxwell has been a mentor to me. I relied on him for a lot of business advice outside of my parents. Dave Meltzer, another big influencer out there that I'm part of his coaching program. And then some coaches that I went to school that coached me in high school. That when I went back to high school to coach, they were still coaching, and they were great coaches. They remembered me. I was welcomed with open arms. I was not one of the best players. I have the horrible. My last name is Swift. Now you get a kid named Swift on your football team, and I was a good-sized kid. Coaches are thinking fast. Oh, this is going to be good. I disappointed so many coaches with my last name. Actually, I had a coach tell me, Swift, if you were in a race with a pregnant lady, you'd come in third place. Just to give you an idea how slow I was. But I loved the game. I always hustled. I wanted it a part of my life, so I went and did it. But to your point, if you don't have a great family bond or the resources there, go find somebody. Go look at social media. Find whatever you want to do, whatever you need. They're out there. They're willing to help. I coach more people about business and as much as I do overcoming obstacles, and not disabled people, more able-bodied people than I do disabled people. I spend time coaching. So find them. You have to, one, show that vulnerability. Nobody likes to be vulnerable. And say, I need help. Could you help me get there where you are? Find somebody that's there and chase them down. Pester them. Do they help you? Anybody else? I have some business cards, I think. Heather, did you put those out for me by any chance? There's some on the back table. If you want to reach out to me, I've written 9 books. I've been blessed to author 9 books and run an amazing nonprofit where we've helped so many people. If you need help in any way, reach out to me. Shoot me an email. Find me on social media. Track me down. I'm not good at hiding from people. So if you want to get in contact with me, you sure have the ability to do that. And trust me, I will be there. So thank you for listening. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for your questions, and especially taking the time to be here for this time. So, thank you.
Thank you all for attending. There are boxed lunches and waters available for you at this table over here. And like Brian said, you can stop by his table for his business card and to learn more about him. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.